I'm so glad to be here. Thank you to Haaretz, thank you to the Ruderman Foundation, thank you to all the Jewish Agency, all of the sponsors. But I have to admit that I was getting a little scared to come up on this stage after what I heard this morning. Hearing about all the divides between American Jews and Israel, I was afraid that maybe the stage would split and I wouldn't even be able to make it up here. But I realized that it's not just at this conference that we're talking about the divide. So I actually decided to Google the headlines of Jews divided. And you know what? We're right, you're right, we're divided. So here's some of what I found. So, divided, we stand. American Jews and Israel, we stand divided. The deep sources of a great divide. A diaspora divided. Expanding the U.S. Jewish-Israel divide. Still attached, but we're more divided. Wait a minute. Maybe it's not just Israel and American Jews are divided. U.S. Jews show serious divisions. After the midterms, the U.S. Jews were more divided than ever. The struggle of political divisions among American Jews. Oh, wait a minute. It's not just American Jews that are divided. Israelis, you're divided too. Israelis religiously divided society. There are deep divisions in Israeli society. Oh, phew. It's not just Israelis and Americans. The British, they've been divided since 2001. You know, the British, they always get there before we do. Seriously, this is not a modern phenomena. Have you read your Bible lately? Read the Bible lately? If we'd had internet then, we would have had headlines something like this. Yaakov and Esav, deeply divided. Joseph and his brothers, the division deepens. Moses and Korach, divide widens as the earth opens up and swallows the rebellion. And back to modern times, what's all this? Remember the Ashkenazi and Sephardi divide, how much it divided us? And Israelis, Ben Gurion and Begin, seriously, have we forgotten what's going on? So, since there's so many Israelis here, I'm a political junkie in America. I want you to know I was following the Israeli elections very closely, both elections. So will somebody here please explain to me the divides on the left between Meretz, the Labor Party, and the Democratic Alliance? And after you've explained that to me, would you explain the divisions on the right between the New Right, Bayit Yehudi, Otzma, and the rest of the parties on the right? And I promise you, if you can tell me the divides between all these groups, then I will explain to you what divides Reform, Reconstructionists, and Renewal Jews in America. And then we're going to come back to Israel, and you have to explain to me the divides that split the Ger Hasidim on Simchat Torah this week into two parts. Seriously, there's a famous article that many of you know about. It was titled, Jews, the Ever-Dying People. And it was famous because everyone knew that it was true. Every generation, there are some prominent Jewish scholars and leaders and academics that tell us that the Jewish people are in the process of dying out for a variety of reasons. So I propose that today we should write a book that's called Jews, the Ever-Divided People. Now, somehow, amidst all these divisions and against all odds, here we are, American Jews and Israelis together. Baruch Hashem. And so far, you're being really nice to me. Ze beseder ad achshav? Beseder gemur, toda. I'm honored to be the new CEO of the Jewish Federations of North America. We represent 500 Jewish communities across the U.S. and Canada. We care for our needy, we embrace our elderly, we provide Jewish education to our children, we send tens of thousands of young people to Israel and to Jewish camps, we support our students in Israel on college campuses, we host thousands of shlichim We strengthen Jewish communities around the world, all by raising and investing roughly $3 billion per year in Jewish life. And I want to say that a significant part of those funds are invested right here with the Jewish Agency for Israel, which is one of the sponsors of this conference. You can applaud that. We at the Jewish Federations of North America couldn't be more excited about the direction that the Jewish Agency is headed under your leadership, Isaac Bougie Herzog, and we are committed to being good and faithful partners around the world. Seriously, Achi, we're not divided. We're actually more connected to each other than ever before. News travels instantaneously between us. We're related by marriage, and we're partners in business. We teach at each other's schools and colleges, and we perform at each other's concert venues. Now, Hebrew may not be a strong suit among most American Jews, as you've seen with me today. But that doesn't stop us from bursting with pride when we hear the Hatikva song when an Israeli wins a medal at a sporting event. Not that that happens all that often. Listen, Achi, there are now direct flights from Ben Gurion to New York, Boston, Miami, Orlando, Chicago, Las Vegas, Toronto, Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Washington, D.C. And in case you haven't heard yet, there's a direct flight coming to Dallas. Someone is buying all those tickets. One reason for all these flights is that American Jews organize more trips to Israel than there are ways to make hummus. We have synagogue trips, youth group trips, Taglit Birthright Israel, Honeymoon Israel, Onward Israel, and Ta'am Israel. And the Jewish Federations of North America proudly supports all of these and more. And it's not just Israel trips. We bring Israeli culture to America, celebrating Yom Ha'atzmaut with parades and picnics, and watching lots and lots of Israeli TV shows on Netflix. By the way, can someone get me a reservation at Eyal Shani's new restaurant in New York City? I haven't been able to get in recently. We're also defending Israel from slander on campuses, on the internet, and when necessary, in our communities. No, Achi, we're not divided. We're more connected than ever. So what's my Jewish identity? I'm the grandson of an Orthodox rabbi from Hungary who brought his family to America and opened a grocery store to support them. I'm the son of a first-generation American father who went to war and became part of the greatest generation. I'm the son of a first-generation American mother who, widowed too young, scrimped and saved to send her 2 daughters and only son on trips to Israel long before Taglit began offering free trips. I'm the brother of a Reformed Jewish sister who is active in her synagogue in Chicago, and an Orthodox sister who teaches special education and lives with our mother in Cleveland. I'm the son-in-law of a Jewish Korean War veteran who will be buried in Arlington National Cemetery, and a Southern belle who raised my wife to be a true Eshet Chayil. I'm the uncle of a young man who just days after graduating high school made Aliyah and served proudly in Sahal. And I'm that guy who was crying so hard at the tekes when my nephew was sworn into the paratroopers that the medics thought they would have to revive me. I'm a former member of Congress who stood on the south lawn of the White House, hopeful for peace, when Yitzhak Rabin, Bill Clinton, and Yasser Arafat signed the Oslo Accords. I was there when Rabin and King Hussein celebrated the Israel-Jordan peace treaty with a joint speech to Congress. And I went back to Congress to hear Prime Minister Netanyahu warn of the dangers of the Iranian nuclear accord. I am an American Jew who danced and sang at an Idan Reichel concert at the Sultan's Pool last summer, and I have all of his albums on my iPhone. And I'm a Jew who cried when, just this week, Chazan Shai Abramson sang the El Molei Rachamim prayer for the 11 precious victims of the massacre at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, Zichronam Livracha. I'm the American Jew who was equally honored to make a l'chaim at Beit Hanasi and at my friend's house in Gush Etzion. I'm the Jew who was pleased to meet the chief rabbi of Israel. And I'd be really excited to meet Omer Adam. Can anybody introduce me in the audience? I'm the American Jew who commutes between Washington, D.C. and New York each week and loves seeing all the Jews on the trains and subways on Friday afternoon rushing to finish their commutes before sundown. I'm an American Jew who enjoys the quiet of Shabbat in Jerusalem and also loves spending Shabbat in a beachfront hotel in Tel Aviv so I can have great kosher food and walk the beach in the afternoon. I'm a Jew who loves praying at the Great Synagogue and at the small shtibel and at the Namal in Tel Aviv on Friday nights in the summer. My story is not unique. Achi, we're not divided. It's true, we're spread out everywhere, and yet we find ways to be together. We're certainly not perfect. Aval ani tzarich lihistakel al chatzi hakos hamle'ah. Velo al chatzi hakos harika. And since we're still at the beginning of a new year, why don't we try something new together? Let's try and avoid saying things or doing things to one another that are careless or hurtful. But since we will inevitably fail that, maybe, just maybe, we can also remember to apologize and to forgive. If we do this, we may actually be able to address the issues on which we disagree. And it's okay to disagree. You know a family who has no issues? By the way, it's not just Jews in Israel and North America that disagree sometimes. Jews in Brooklyn disagree with Jews in Queens. Republican Jews disagree with Democratic Jews. And as a guy from Ohio, don't even get me started on the Jews who root for Michigan. Our disagreements are not trivial. They are important. And as leaders of the North American Jewish communities, we will work on addressing them. But we have to remember how to disagree without being divided. We need to do this because Kol Yisrael yesh lahem chelek ba'olam haba. But we also need to do this because regardless of what else we may agree on or disagree on, there are real challenges we must face together in this world right now and urgently. From the Lebanese border to Sderot to Harnof, and from Buenos Aires to Paris to Pittsburgh to San Diego to Halle, we have been reminded that Jews must never take our safety and security for granted, nor ever be lulled into believing that anti-Semitism is gone. We know it is not. The Jewish Federations of North America are leaders in making sure that our Jewish communities are safe and that our precious, vibrant, free society fights off the virus of anti-Semitism, which is today growing in power, because that's the kind of Jews we are. When I was growing up, we were told that native-born Israelis were called sabras because you're prickly on the outside and soft inside. So I guess today that's an arias, right? Crisp outside and mushy and spicy inside. Seems to me, by the way, that's an improvement over sabra. It's definitely more edible and delicious. We know that Israelis keep hearing that American Jews are drifting away. We heard it today, even opposing Israel. And if you want to find evidence for this, you can. But I am the American Jew who's here to ask you to look right in front of you and see all the love and support that is coming every day from the dynamic, generous, committed Jewish communities across the ocean. And I'm the American Jew who is suggesting to you Israelis that you should, just a little, and without sacrificing your tough Israeli exterior, love us back. The only divide that truly matters to us is between Achenu Kol Beit Yisrael, who are already connected to our Jewish community, and those that are not. The Jewish Federations of North America will never stop working to bridge that divide. Tov, yalla, bye.